Hey, welcome to Ratel Gaming. I'm Ratel and I'm gonna give you a quick breakdown of what I think is the best, most meta OP build for the Necromancer that we've seen so far in this Diablo beta. So as you can see, I've got my Necromancer here, all kitted out with legendary gear. I've got all my skelly boys out, plus my golem. And I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of how I built this character up. So going first to the abilities tab, you're going to want to pick for your basic attack, you want to pick Decompose. And I'll give you a quick breakdown of why this is, because the whole point of this build is to generate corpses. Corpses are going to provide you your DPS on area of effect as well as single target damage. But you'll also see in this build, corpses, every time you generate one, it also increases your survivability, builds your fortify, and it heals. So what you want to do is you want to pick Decompose. That'll give you 5 essence per second. It's a channeled cast. You just click and hold, and you can move your mouse over and it'll go to whatever enemy your mouse is currently hovering over. And this will tear the flesh from your enemies. And the most important part is every 2.5 seconds it generates a corpse, and this is going to be very key. Now along with that, you're going to want to pick Enhanced Decompose. That means every time an enemy dies while you're using this on him, you will gain 10 essence, which will be useful for your second ability, which we'll get to soon. And then Acolyte Decompose. This is good because this build is, even though your solo damage is going to be extremely high on this, the key to this class is just overwhelming with sheer numbers as well. And part of this is Acolyte Decompose, which boosts your and your minions' damage to enemies who are being decomposed. Moving down, we're going to pick for our core skill, we're going to pick Blight. Now this provides a significant damage over time effect, as well as buffing your minions again. So Blight will just do a straight single target damage on hit, but it will also do an area of effect over 6 seconds, which is as you can see here is 670 points of damage, which is insane. Then you're going to jump to Enhanced Blight, which just slows down any enemies that are standing in your blighted area. And then Supernatural Blight, this is where you buff your minions and yourself again, more damage. For combining that with your Decompose is already a 25% buff in damage for yourself and your minions. Now when you get down to your other skills here, this is where you're going to pick up your main damage dealing spell. Your 50% of your damage is going to come from your minions, and the other 50% is going to come from this spell, which is Corpse Explosion. Because you will be summoning so many and generating so many corpses, Corpse Explosion is just going to be overpowered because it has no cooldown and it can be cast infinitely. So basically, this just any corpse that's on the floor will explode and do radial damage. If you go for Enhanced Explosion, this increases the radius of this damage. And then a Plagued Corpse Explosion, it does an extra 10% damage to any enemy that is slowed, stunned, or vulnerable. And you can combine each of these to get up to a 30% damage bonus for Corpse Explosion if the enemy is both stunned, slowed, and vulnerable. Now, you will also see I put points in Skeletal Warrior Mastery. I'm going to be putting points in all of the minion buffs. I want to get the life and the damage of all my minions up by 45%, and that's what Skeletal Mastery will allow me to do. The other points are just from legendary armor pieces. I do not use those spells. Going down to your curses, I didn't actually invest in here. You can see these points are just from my armor, but what I got here was my Skeletal Mage Mastery for that 45%. Coming down here, I invested a single point, but a very crucial point, in Necrotic Carapace. Now, with all the corpses you're generating, this means that any corpse your minions or your skills generate will give you 2% Fortify, which is basically like a buff to your armor. And a single point is enough because of how fast we're going to be generating corpses. Moving down here, your ultimate. I didn't pick any of the ultimate spells. I went for the ultimate passive, which is boosting my golem's damage and life by 45%. So that's my skill tree for up till level 25. You can see I didn't pick some of the other spells. Mostly my only two spells I'm going to frequently cast are Decompose and Blight. And then if I want to just overload the screen with explosions, this is where Corpse Explosion comes in. Now Corpse Explosion can also crit, which does double damage. So you've got a potential 1400 points of damage there. And it's per corpse. So this just absolutely shreds. You just keep pressing that button and stuff just disappears. Now a key part of the Necromancer is also the Book of the Dead, where you can do some customization for your minions. Now for Skeletal Warriors, I went straight to the bottom for the Reapers, because they do a wide area swing for heavy damage every 10 seconds. And then I chose to give them the upgrade here. Reapers have a 15% chance to carve flesh off enemies forming a corpse. Now, and with 4 Reapers out, that happens quite frequently, and there's no cooldown on this. So this could proc 4 times in a row, times 4, and you will have a pile of corpses, which again will boost your defense, and we'll get to boosting the attack. Obviously that is where the Corpse Explosion comes in, with this a pile of corpses. Now if I go to my Skeletal Mages, I've gone for Cold for one specific reason, and that's this upgrade here, which means that enemies that are frozen by your damage or by your Cold Mage's primary attacks are made vulnerable for 3 seconds, which again stacks with the Corpse Explosion to give you that 10% buff. Now you could also opt for the raw DPS boost of going to Bone Mages, and then just going for the reduce the life of your Bone Mages, reduce the life cost of your Bone Mages and attacks from 15% to 10%, so that just keeps them up alive, because a Bone Mage uses its own health pool to damage the enemy, so this just keeps them alive a little bit longer. But also if your Bone Mage is alive for more than 5 seconds, you get a 40% boost in damage. Now I have found just leaving the Frost Mages up there to make enemies vulnerable gives me an overall more consistent effect. And for the Golem, we can only select the bone one right now, but I've given him this upgrade that each time he takes 20% of his maximum life as damage, he sheds a corpse, which again buffs your Fortify and gives you a corpse to explode with Corpse Explosion. And these things combined make this class extremely easy to play, super powerful. You shred anything. Dungeons, bosses, elites, they all go down. You can even solo the Butcher if he spawns with this build, 100% guaranteed. You might not even need to use a healing potion. Now my character is already kitted out with all legendaries, but the most important one, if you can pick it up, is this necklace, this chain, because as you can see, its legendary effect is it increases the maximum number of skeletal mages by 3, doubling up the amount of mages you have. So if I close here and I zoom out, you can see I have 6 skeletal mages, 1 golem, and 4 of my reapers out here. And just to give you a demonstration of how insanely overpowered this build is, I'm going to run to the one level 30 area we can access, and I'm going to demonstrate you how overpowered this is. And so along the way I'll show you how the Corpse Explosion and all that works, but when we get to the level 30 area, I'm literally just going to let my minions do the talking. As you can see, I've entered the level 30 area, the Western Highways. And one thing to note is that the Golem also acts as a threat generator, so it will actively pull enemies towards itself, keeping them away from you, and more importantly your mages. So inside here you'll find some level 30 enemies. First wave, I'm just going to let my minions take care of it. You can see even against level 30 creatures, these level 25 minions will absolutely decimate them. And once I introduce my own abilities into the mix, it just becomes an incredible slaughter fest. Let's see if I can find a grouping of enemies. As you can see, it's like an instant screen clear almost. So thanks very much for checking out my guide. I'll be doing a similar one for the Barbarian, which I believe is the only feasible build for Barbarian at this point. But do feel free to check out some of my other content on the channel. And like, subscribe, follow, all of that other lovely nonsense. And I'll see you on the next video.